Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a bit of a different kind of makeup tutorial than what I'm used to doing. I normally do a lot of like neutrals. You guys know I'm like the neutrals queen. So I figured I'd switch it up with a little bit of color on the eyes today. It's summertime, so I wanted to pick something a little bit brighter. I don't tend to wear a lot of bright shadows, but sometimes I'm in the mood for something a little bit more, a little different, especially on the weekends. But it's still going to be very wearable, so for those of you looking for like a crazy, bright, insane makeup look, this is not the channel. But it's going to be, using something. I'm using the Guerlain Summer Shadow in this like seafoam green color. It's a cream shadow. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to keep the look very glowy and very kind of dewy, not shiny. Full disclosure, I started recording this video already and realized I didn't have everything I needed, and I had already started applying my foundation like halfway through my face, and I was like, I had to stop the video, go get everything. So I'm starting the video all over again. So I've already actually applied the foundation, and I'm using the Zalens Youth Glow Foundation. This is one of my favorite foundations. I've talked about it a million times, reviewed it on the blog. Absolutely adore it. It's in the shade Porcelain. I think it's such a gorgeous foundation. So I put that everywhere because it gives like a nice kind of fresh look to the skin. Even though it says glow, I have oily skin and I absolutely adore it. I think it looks great on oily skin because it gives a kind of radiance without being greasy. So I'm going to do a little bit of concealer next. I'm going to use the By Terry Densalis concealer, and I'm going to put that right under the eyes because, like I said, I don't tend to use a lot of concealer to spot treat on the face. I find that my foundation always does a good job of covering, and if I ever need to cover any specific spots, I will just use a little bit more foundation. That's just what works for me. So I tend to save my concealer for under the eyes. I'm really loving this By Terry stuff. This has like been my kind of go-to concealer now for a long time. I mean, I have other concealers that I enjoy, but I kind of always keep gravitating towards this one, especially for videos. So maybe next video I'll pick a different concealer so you guys can see something different. And then let's do the brows. Should have done those off camera. You guys know I hate doing my brows. And I definitely need to get them done. There's like stray hairs everywhere and they're all out of whack, but it's all right. I'll get them done this week. So sometimes I'm like hesitant to film a video if my like brows aren't done or something like that. And then I'm just like, okay, we're all friends here. So I can show you like the real deal. Not everyone's brows are perfect 24/7, right? Or maybe those people on Instagram that have Instagram brows, their brows are like perfect 24/7. Not real. So I'm just using the IT Cosmetics Your Brows But Better pencil. I find that it's very much like the Anastasia Brow Wiz, the same shape. It's very, very small. It's a universal shade. It works really well for my hair color. It has a little bit of a gray undertone, which I like, especially for dark hair. I always find that blondes also really do well when they, brow pencil gone rogue. I really like a gray undertone. Obviously I can't follow clearly you guys can see probably from my skills and everything, I'm not like a born artist, I will say. Like I can't draw, I can't paint, nothing. I always feel like you can tell someone's like a natural artist from the way that they do their brows. And I find that like when I used to work behind a counter years ago, I could tell if someone was like had true artistic talent just by the way they did their brows. I do not, because mine are always like, I'm always like have a hard time filling them in and making them look all like fabulous. All right, done, good enough. It's fine. All right, even though it's a cream shadow that I'm using, I'm still going to use a eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to use the NARS kind of smudge-proof eyeshadow base that I like, and I'm just going to put that all over the lid here. And I still find that like, even a cream shadow needs like an eyeshadow base, especially for me. Maybe not for you. If you don't have excessively oily eyelids, then don't even worry about it. But I do. So this little piece of hair, like this little piece of hair didn't get curled. Ugh. So I keep having to like tuck it under. Don't you hate that when you like curl your whole head and then you realize like I forgot like to curl a piece or something? So annoying. All right, I also pulled out a powder palette with me to kind of do like an inner corner highlight and touch this up if I want to with something else. All right, so we're going to use the Summer Shadow from Guerlain. I'm just going to apply it directly with the applicator right onto my lid. It can be very sheer if you sheer it out, which is how I'm going to wear it. No surprise. I'm just going to take like the MAC 217 brush, and I'm just going to kind of like windshield wiper. First I'm going to kind of pat it on so that the color kind of sets a little bit, and then I'm just going to kind of windshield wiper up into the crease. And it gets very, very sheer. It really, really does. I don't know if you can see. You can still see it on camera, but it's definitely not as like impactful as when you first apply it, and you can definitely like build it up. I just applied a little bit more, and I'm just kind of like a stippling motion. To be honest with you, obviously I don't want it to be like exactly this color. I just kind of want it to be like that hint of green, which I think is pretty. And then we're going to put like a nice shimmer shadow on top of it to kind of bring out more of the shimmer, because as you buff it out, the shimmer tends to go away. I can't see the shimmer as much, and that's very much like what I want to see from the shadow. I want it to kind of look very smooth and shimmery on the lids. And like I said, just windshield wiper motion. You can add just a little bit more, just tap it on, and then just take your brush and then just kind of like a stippling pressing motion to make sure the color gets onto the lid. Okay, so it's definitely green. And you can always just take another little brush. I'm going to take another kind of fluffy, clean brush that I have here and just kind of go over everything just to kind of buff it out a little bit more. And then what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. Here we go. And I'm going to use the shade Booty Call. I can't even say it without like laughing. I'm like a 12-year-old. So it's this shade right here, this like third one in. And it's really shimmery, which I think would be perfect. And I'm actually going to take it and press it on top of the green. So this will obviously take down some of that mint shimmer, that mint color, but it's not gonna change it too much. It's just gonna make it more iridescent, which I kind of wanted it to be. I kind of wanted my lids to be much more iridescent with just that hint of green rather than like, bam, seafoam green lids. Because especially if I wanted to wear this to work, my lids would just look a little bit more, glowy than they would super, super green. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of the Booty Call shade and just kind of right in the inner corner here, just to kind of brighten it up just a bit. I don't tend to do a lot of like inner corner highlight. I don't know, it's just not my thing. I think it's okay. I don't always love the look. I think some people can do it tastefully, and then I see some people, I'm like, whoa, that's an inner corner highlight. So I like it to be a little bit more subtle. All right, so just kind of blend it all together. As you can see, the green is still there. You definitely still see it. For mascara, we're not going to do liner or anything, because remember, I just want this to be kind of like ethereal, very glowy, fresh. We're going to do the Dior Show, which I haven't used in a while. And this is actually one of my favorite mascaras of all time. However, I prefer this mascara when it has, this is a new tube, I prefer when it has thickened up and it's, a few weeks or even months old, and it's really kind of thick, because I like the effect that it gives my lashes. I've said before, I like thicker. Clumpy has a bad connotation, but I like a nice clumpy lash. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but you can kind of make the lashes look really, I don't like them very, very like feathery and light, and I like them to be, bam, mascara, tons of mascara. It just looks better on me. And especially because I don't do mascara often on the bottom of my lashes, because no matter what mascara formulation I use, they smudge. So I am not here for a smudged under eye. Occasionally, if I'm like going out at night and I'm already doing a smoky eye, I will do mascara down at the bottom, but I don't find that on a day-to-day it actually looks good on my lashes. And every time I get my makeup done, people always want to put mascara down there. And you know what? When I was a makeup artist, I did too. I always wanted to put mascara, but I had to stop myself sometimes because some people just don't have the lashes for it and it just doesn't look right. And I got a little bit here and I got a little bit here, whatever. All right, next let's get on to face. So I'm going to start with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. And I'm going to use the shade Dim Light. I really enjoy this shade as kind of a base shade on my cheeks. My mirror is kind of difficult to see here. And I'm going to use it just on the cheeks as a base shade. I like to use it almost as a light contour. I know that sounds like crazy, but I'm fair enough where it works for me as a light contour. And then we're going to go in with a bronzer. We're going to do the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion. If I can open it. In the shade 15i, so it's the iridescent one. I reviewed these recently with swatches on the blog, so I figured I would do this so you guys could see it in action. And I'm just going to kind of buff it in with my Hourglass blush brush right onto the cheeks. It's a very, very smooth formula. Some people said it doesn't, there's not a lot of pigmentation to it. For me, it's definitely enough because I'm very, very fair, to say the least. So I am okay with the amount that it gives. I might even just take a little bit right on my hairline there. Not that my hair's down, so it's but just to kind of bring the forehead, just bring a little bit of glow. So I think it's such a beautiful, it's definitely not too iridescent, which I like. And then, all right, oh gosh, I've had some of these brushes for so long, they're really they held up, but they're starting to fall apart a little bit. Now I'm using the By Terry Densalist Blush in Platonic Blonde. It's the most perfect, beautiful peachy shade for the cheeks. So right on the apples of the cheeks, just add a little bit of color. And then I'm just going to take whatever powder brush I have here, it has a little bit of powder on it, and just kind of take that down a bit. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury, that pressed powder, the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This is in the shade Fair, or the lightest shade. So what is it? 1, Fair. And I'm just going to tap it down the middle here. Though I want my skin to be glowy, I just like my T-zone to be a little bit flatter, just a little bit. And then we're going to go in with a little bit of a highlight. For me, some people like a strong highlight. I'll just take a minimal one. We're going to do back in with the Hourglass palette, and we're going to do the middle shade, which is Incandescent Light. And that's just going to go right on the cheekbones here. Just right on the top. And then you can just pop a little bit. I don't like a strong brow highlight, Once again, Instagram brows. Okay. And then for the lips. Okay, so this is, the look so far. I definitely think, like I said, it's super wearable. This is not bright summer colors for those that, this is bright summer colors for those that are neutral gals like me. And we're we want to be included in the bright summer colors too, and this is how you can wear it. So that's my kind of 2 cents about that. Okay, for lips, we're going to keep it very peachy, glowy, which I think will look pretty with this look. It'll be the NARS Satin Lip Pencil in Biscayne Park, which is a really nice peach. It definitely takes down any pink in the lip, which is kind of what I want. And it has a little bit of a mild gloss to it. It's not like their gloss, it's not like a gloss, but it's definitely not like a matte pencil. And I kind of like the effect it gives. It's pretty. And then gloss that I've been loving is the Smith & Cult gloss. Look at that gloss. Ugh. It's like peachy goodness. I want to eat it. In the shade Her Name Bubbles. I thought it was Her Name Is Bubbles, but I don't see an is anywhere. It's just like Her Name Bubbles. All right, whatever. So this is a very sheer formulation. It literally is like a jelly finish. So it's perfect to go over top of this because it will just kind of enhance the peach, but not add too much color. Just a little bit. Oh, and it feels so amazing on the lips. And that, my friends, is the finished look. And so we did, like I said, the summer shadow from Guerlain on the eyes, and then on the cheeks we did a bunch of stuff. We did the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion, we did the By Terry Densalist Blush in Platonic Blonde, we did the Hourglass Palette as a highlight, and first to give a little bit of warmth to the cheeks, and then the lips with NARS and Smith & Colt. And the foundation was the Lens Youth Glow. So I'll link everything down below, list everything, and hope you guys enjoy it. And exciting to do something that's a little bit different than my typical neutral, but I'm really liking this. So I will talk to everyone soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.